Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to Math Mind Explains, and today we're going to be explaining how to multiply variables. In my previous video I indicated that the concept of exponents was to simplify the method of multiplying numbers times themselves. Like for instance the 5 times 5 times 5 example that I used. 5 times 5 times 5 equals 125. Instead of continuously writing all of the 5s, with exponents, we just write how many times 5 is itself. So 5 to the third power is 125. We took it a step further and established that exponents can be used with variables. Instead of writing 16 x's, we wrote x to the 16th power. Now, with that being said, I also introduced how to add and subtract exponents, and that's in the previous video if you want to watch that. With this video, we're going to establish how to multiply exponents. Prior to doing that, the first thing we're going to do is establish a rule of multiplying exponents, and write this down if you have to. For this particular rule, the variable has to be the same. Let me give you an example. If you were asked to multiply y to the second power times y to the third power, the first thing you have to ask yourself is, first, can this be done? We've already established that the variable has to be the same. Let's establish what the variable is. Y is the variable. The degree or exponent is 3 and 2. Since the variable is the same, it can be multiplied. Okay, so since we've already established that the rule is set on this one, how do you multiply these two? Well, it's simple. You just add the exponents. Okay, so for this one, the variable stays the same, and you add the exponents. So the answer would be y to the 5th power. Let's break down the concept. Okay, so we had y to the 3rd times y to the 2nd. Okay, judging from the previous video, we know that y to the 3rd is simply y times y times y. 1, 2, 3. And we know that y to the 2nd is y times y. So, if we put this all together, we'll get y times y times y times y times y. And let's count those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how we know that to multiply exponents, we just add these two. 3 plus 2 is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead of writing it all out in this long form, we just put it in exponent. So, y to the 3rd times y to the 2 is y to the 5th power by adding it together. Now, let's use an example as if we had a coefficient. And in case you don't remember what a coefficient is, it would be this one right here. That's a coefficient. Or you can say that's the constant. We can use 2x to the 3, in fact. 2x to 3 times 6x2. Okay. So how would we multiply that together? We would simply take the like terms, multiply them. That would be 2 and 6, which would be 12. And x to the 3rd and x to the 2nd. Remember, you just add these two together. That would be x to the 5th. What I placed on the board is our third and final multiplication example. It is more complicated because what you have is a product inside of the parentheses and you have an exponent on the parentheses. When this happens, all it's telling you to do is that the exponent applies to the entire product. What we're going to do is break it down so that way it appears more simple. So what we're doing is we're looking at this product, and we are going to just break it down. When we break it down, it's going to be x squared y cubed times x squared y cubed times x squared y cubed. In the previous example, we already know what to do when we see a product of this nature. All we have to do is add like terms. So each x we're going to add together. So we'll add these two, and that will give us, x to the fourth. And each y we add, so these two will give us y to the sixth. And we still have one more to add, x squared y cubed. So now since we have these two, that'll give us x to the sixth, and this will give us y to the ninth. In a more simple fashion, now since we've broken it down, I can tell you that when you see a parentheses of this nature, all you have to do is multiply the exponents. If a product is inside of the parentheses and an exponent is outside of the parentheses, you just multiply these two. So with that being said, 2 times 3 would be x to the 6th, and y cubed times 3 is y to the 9th. And that's basically it with multiplying exponents. I hope I helped you. And if you have any questions, you can definitely contact me via email, which is located under the video. And that's all for Math Minded Explains. You have a nice day.